January 1915, the Weddell Sea, Antarctica. It is the most hostile environment on planet Earth. Explorer Ernest Shackleton and his crew of 27 men sailed their reinforced wooden ship, the Endurance, into the frozen wasteland. But the winter arrived early. Within days, the sea around them did not just freeze. It hardened into solid rock. The Endurance was trapped, a microscopic speck of wood caught in 1,000,000 square miles of blinding, endless white. Then, the sun vanished. The Antarctic night descended, plunging the crew into months of absolute, suffocating darkness. The temperature dropped to 30 degrees below zero. Outside, the world was a void. Inside, the men huddled around flickering kerosene lanterns, listening to the wind tear across the frozen ocean. They were completely severed from human civilization. No radio, no rescue, just the waiting. But the ice was not dead. It was a massive, shifting tectonic plate driven by the tides and the wind. And as the millions of tons of ice began to move, it began to squeeze. At first, it was just a low, deep rumble vibrating through the floorboards. Then came the sound. The thick, reinforced oak timbers of the ship began to groan under the unimaginable pressure. It was a high, agonizing shriek, the sound of a ship slowly being tortured to death. By October, the ice began to buckle, creating massive pressure ridges, jagged blocks of frozen seawater rising into the air, pushing directly against the ship's hull. The oak began to bend. Iron bolts snapped, ricocheting through the lower decks like shrapnel. The men could not sleep. The screaming of the wood was deafening. The ice was literally trying to crush them into dust. The killing blow came in the afternoon. With a sound like a cannon blast, the port side of the hull finally splintered. The pressure was so immense that heavy wooden support beams were snapped like dry twigs. Freezing, black seawater violently rushed into the lower decks. Shackleton stood on the tilting deck and gave the only order left to give: abandon ship. They threw their survival gear onto the ice and stepped off the vessel into the void. They stood on the frozen ocean, shivering in heavy wool coats, and watched as the ice slowly devoured their only home. The Endurance listed heavily to one side, its masts tangled in the rigging, slowly sinking into the crushing white jaws of the Weddell Sea. They were now castaways on a floating piece of ice at the bottom of the world. The ship was dead. Their nightmare had just begun.